Hi, my name is Francois Nordia and I am a super teacher. And this is Super Teachers Unite, the show that's all about motivating, inspiring and supporting teachers. And I'm extremely excited to have on the show Mr. Heinrich Gabler, Mr. South Africa 2019. Awesome having you on the show.
Wow, Francois, it's for me an honor to be with you because all my years I was involved with super teachers and I became a super teacher. So it's really excited to be on your show today, to be honest with you.
No, thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, watching this show, I'm going to prefer you to go onto YouTube to watch us. If you're on podcast, look, you're going to get the value out of this. But you have to see this episode to appreciate it. I mean, we've got Mr. South Africa on. This is by far going to be the most attractive show you'll ever see. Having two attractive gentlemen on a show like this, please move over to YouTube. Stop your podcast immediately and move over to YouTube so that you can see how attractive this episode is. That's just tongue-in-cheek. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time to watching the show. You know the structure by now. Every guest shares for the first 5 to 10 minutes. They share value that they think would be valuable for teachers. And you might ask, like, why do we have Mr. South Africa on the show? It's because he is a teacher. Yeah. I mean, and we're gonna unpack that. That's gonna be awesome. And then we'll learn a bit more about Heinrich's life. And then afterwards, at the end, we'll have a round of quick fire questions. But stay tuned for all of this. Before we jump into all of this, let's educate. This episode is sponsored by Senior Chef. They specialize in school fundraising projects. So when you need to raise funds for your school, be sure to go check out seniorchef.co.za. That is SENORCHEF.co.za. If you'd like to raise funds for your school, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode where we interview the founder of Senior Chef, Piet van Zyl, who elaborates on the initiatives that they use to raise funds for your school while also teaching children the necessary skills of entrepreneurship and sales. Today's episode is brought to you by Schoolscape, the platform that brings schools and suppliers of schools together. Whether you are looking to source IT systems for your school or you want to upgrade the infrastructure or even purchase academic materials, Schoolscape is the place to be. On the Schoolscape website, you would be able to find suppliers and source quotes. Next time you'd like to buy anything for your school, pop on over to schoolscape.co.za and find a supplier that suits your needs. Heinrich, it's over to you. I know you spoke now. We were at the Schoolscape Premier event hosted by School Advisor, where you were just a guest speaker. Yeah. And I listened attentively to your entire story. And I must say I resonate with a lot of the things that you said. But what sounded to me, what came out from it is this love of sport that you have and the impact that you had as a teacher, but specifically on the sport field. Tell us a bit more about your
It's quite interesting. I think you picked that up because my whole mission behind wanting to become a teacher is that I have this deep love for sports, and what a better way to live this dream of educating young kids and coaching them and seeking talent than being a teacher. So I actually became a teacher to be able to coach in the afternoons, but also to build relationship with the kids that I'm involved with, because I believe education and teaching, it's all about relationships. Once you get that right, you know you're on the right path. So I also believe that on the sports field, in the classroom, being a teacher, the child, he has to be there, if I can say that.
Yeah, you have to be in the classroom, you're forced to be there.
Yeah, but on the sports field, it's really a choice that he can make in the afternoon. You know what, I want it. So when a kid's on the sports field in the afternoon, you know that he really wants to be there. And sometimes you can't really engage with that specific kid in the classroom because you know you're busy educating and then you have 30 minutes to do this lesson. But hey, outside this afternoon on the sports field, you can start building that deeper relationship. And all of a sudden, because he wants to be there, you in his picture world, you know, that he finds for himself, like, this is where he wants to be. And all of a sudden, you entering his world is like, wow, you know, you're together, and all of a sudden, you can build a much better relationship. You can find out what he or she loves, and what their hobbies are, and what their dreams are. And it's just in the classroom, you know, the only thing you can really basically talk about is the subject you're educating. Now and then you can maybe drift off a bit, but out there, it's where you can really touch and learn, whoa, where do you really come from? You know, what's your dreams in life? And all of a sudden you can tell him that you believe in him or her. So really the massive impact I had as a teacher and still have on the sports field, because I still do coach in my free time, is quite tremendous. And how quick you can get to know that person, because all of a sudden they're much more open, you know. In the classroom, you know, they would have that shutter there, because sometimes you won't be teaching the subject that they like, because you're a geography teacher but they love mathematics. But the fact that they come to your rugby or netball practice is they want to be there, and all of a sudden you're in the same world, if I can say that. And it was so much easier engaging with those learners, and of course traveling together on the bus in the afternoons to the matches, from the matches, it's that special times, that minute or two you have with them extra that you can engage, and that's where my relationships were built. And to be honest, a lot of people praise the work I did with the kids, and how do you get it right? I say, hey, it's relationships. I know what their dreams are, I know where they come from, I know their circumstances, because I engaged on that. And once you get to know that about the kid, you understand where he comes from. So if he rocks up late in the morning at school, I wouldn't immediately give him a demerit. I say, okay, because I know he's growing up with a single mom, and they are 4 kids, so that must be quite difficult to get all those 4 kids ready for school. But of course, after that, you say, hey, it's important to be at school on time. Maybe you can help your mom, because I know how much you help me on the sports field.
And you assist with the responsibility, teaching the taking up that responsibility at home.
Because what sports has also taught me as a young kid and as a young adult, I teach that to those kids, because I always say, if you can play the game of rugby, netball, cricket, you can play the game of life, because it teaches you self-respect, respect for your opponent, punctuality. You know, it's important. You can't
so many transferable skills that you take off of the sports field into your own life.
Exactly. And the most important actually is that we realize that kid is in his, I would not say comfort zone, but he feels safe there, because some of them would be on the streets, are they not doing the right thing necessarily, but now they're under your guidance on the sports field, and they can forget about reality for a short while and enjoy themselves, because kids must have fun.
It becomes a bit of an escape if you've got these really bad circumstances. Being on the sports fields gives you that escape from that reality, and just freedom in the moment.
That's so true. And all of a sudden, where you have kids that are not that strong academic, all of a sudden they're a star, and you can praise them and give them a high five, and they feel that it boosts them, of course, and they can come to school knowing that, hey, you're the coach that has that relationship with me. All of a sudden, they want to do well in my subject as well. They want to show interest in geography or history or natural science, and that's what I connected out on the sports field. So the power of that extramural activity, because I also always hammered on that, an involved pupil is a happy pupil. I always tell them, no matter if you don't have the talent in rugby or netball or cricket, somehow you must be able to sing, or you can become a scholar patrol or a monitor in the library. Get involved, because that must be your extramural. And of course, the teachers that are in charge of that extramural activity, somehow they will build relationship with that kid, and that's the teacher I engage with in the staff room. So yeah, I know that my kid in my classroom that's not that very strong academic, but he is on a scholar patrol with you. You know, tell me more about it.
So that collaboration between you and your colleagues, because you as an individual, you're not going to have a breakthrough moment with all of the kids, and they're not going to have a relationship with you necessarily, but they might have that relationship with a colleague.
Of course.
And now you and your colleague have that collaborative spirit, and you engage, you talk about this kid. Not like what's typically happening in a staff room where everybody's gossiping about the kids. That I couldn't stand that of a staff room. But if you change the culture of talking about your learners, it's more like, okay, how do I reach? How do I really make impact? And what is the lived experience of this kid, and what makes them tick?
And catch a child doing right. You know, be positive. Tell me something positive, and I can go back to the classroom and say, hey, I heard that you done 2 sessions yesterday where the teacher only expected 1 scholar patrol session of you, and you said that you're willing to do another session. Well done. Like, all of a sudden they realize you paying interest in their lives, and that just opens so many doors. And all of a sudden you would be the person where they would come and trust, and they would build that relationship with you. And that's what life is really about. Those kids, I really knew so much about my kids. And sometimes the story about the one kid in my class.
I wanted to ask you now, like, tell us that story.
So I always tell my audience when I do motivational talks, and especially when I get along with teachers, is that my mission in life is just, if I can change 1 child a year, I'm successful. You're a successful teacher. If it's 1 child that you could change throughout that year, you are very successful. And my mission, of course, is to change every single kid I get across and to somehow be a positive influence. But this specific year, I had this classroom and 99.9% I had them, but there was this one kid.
You had a connection with like the majority of the class.
There's one kid
There's always that one kid.
I could not find the connection. And I just promised myself, I will keep on loving unconditionally and I will keep on trying. And even though it was like this massive wall between the two of us and he wasn't engaging, wasn't opening up, because I also believe in life that if you are hurt, you trust less. But we as teachers should keep on pursuing to break down those walls and that barrier so that we can get through. And I just kept on. And I remember the one parent meeting, I just explained to the parents, I know so much about your kid. I actually only know so much about your kid, that he loves sports and that you are a nurse, ma'am, and his father's an electrician. I know his father works away a lot, because that's I could pick up from him. He says, dad's away and mom's not at home always. But I just couldn't have that relationship with him. And what I'm trying to say is I kept on just being him, showing him love. Even though he was still doing a lot wrong, I would always try and catch him doing right, praise him for something.
Focus on the good behavior.
The positive. And all of a sudden, this guy was like, yes, no matter what I'm doing in this, because a lot of his behavioral manners was to seek attention. And I realized that because he just wanted some attention, because he wasn't getting any attention at home or from wherever. And a lot of the attention he was getting from other teachers was negative attention, scolding him. And I would always say, hey, that's not the right thing to do, and keep on. And it was about 4 months of me trying, because normally you get about 2 weeks, you connected with a kid if you try that hard, and 4 months was really, really long. And the one day he came to me and said, Mr. Gabler, do you perhaps have a rugby ball for me? And I immediately knew that somehow he trusted me enough to, I mentioned his name, I said, I'm going home and I'm going to choose you the best rugby ball I have in my garage and I'm going to bring it for you. And the next day I brought that ball for him. And Francois, I wish I could explain how the two of us connected. He became my class captain. He was the most diligent boy. His academic marks lifted by about 20% just by me. And I kept on believing in him, and I saw this person that he was supposed to become. He became a rugby captain, talented rugby player. And I was so proud of this young kid. And in the mornings he would tell me, Mr. Gabler, I would want to go to the sports match, but I won't be able to make it. Do you mind coming to pick me up at home? And I would say, yeah, at 5:30 in the morning. He's like, that means the short one's on the 5 and the long one on the 6. I would stand outside.
You were teaching math?
Yeah. In the morning, he would wait there for me, and that just showed me the commitment from his side as well, showing me that he really wants to, rise above his circumstances. So
but you could have easily been like the mediocre teacher and just said, no man, sort yourself out. I'm not gonna.
This guy, he doesn't want to. I'll give up on him because he doesn't want to give cooperation. But it was my responsibility to keep on keeping on, if I can say that. So sometimes, you want to give up hope with certain kids, but sometimes you do have to be a bit harsh, saying, director of whatever, I can only do that much.
Yeah.
And then somehow you would see that, here comes that change.
Once that penny drops and that you've got that kid on your side, he's a fan for life.
Yes.
I can promise you now, when you were crowned Mr. South Africa, that boy went out and told every single person, that's my teacher.
Exactly.
That's my teacher.
So
I firmly believe that you can't become what you don't see. And we don't often see teachers prosper. We've got great teachers, we've got super teachers in each and every, in classrooms, but we don't get to see the positive stories of teachers and what teachers can become. In South Africa in general, people look down on teachers, and teaching as a profession is just it's like you're just a teacher. Yeah. When at the end of the day, there's a whole list of amazing achievements that teachers have made, but we don't get to hear the stories. And here we have you that's got a platform now. You were a teacher, you've got an absolute love for teaching. During your talk, the keynote you gave at the Schoolscape event, the passion just oozes out of you for teaching, and you're Mr. South Africa. Yeah. So there are teachers out there watching this show, listening to us now, seeing you on your social media platforms that can say, you know what, I'm not just a teacher. Yeah. I can do so much. And you mentioned in your talk, and maybe it's time we can elaborate on that.
Sure. So basically, even at the Mr. South Africa event, it was a competition that was ran for a few months. You have to go through all these challenges, and that challenge was quite easy for me. I didn't want to tell the other guys because I was
the other people were stressing.
I could ace it. I could get into an interview and I could have the self-confidence to speak in front of people. I could arrange certain events because that's what teachers do.
Were you still a full-time teacher when you entered into Mr. South Africa?
Yes.
Okay.
It's quite ironic when it comes to teaching. So On the Saturday night, on the 8th of June, I was crowned. And on that Sunday, at about 10 o'clock, I was still marking question papers.
There you had not even Mr. South Africa is exempt from assessment.
Exactly.
Like on Sundays we mark.
I was marking, and then the next day I handed out my papers. And even that week that we ran for the finals in Mr. South Africa, I had to leave at a certain time to go to school in the mornings just to make sure, because it was test series at the time, exams, just to make sure they understand the question paper. Go back to the competition. Luckily, it was in Cape Town, close to where I was teaching, so that made it easier
helped
for me. Yeah.
But now that means there isn't an excuse for teachers that say, you know what, I want to do all of these things, but I don't have the time.
Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, you, like full-time teaching, Mr. South Africa got the opportunity to teach. You've had all your responsibilities, all the boxes checked, and you participated in this campaign.
To be honest, because I love sports so much, and my dream was to become a professional rugby player. But I fell into teaching, and I had this passion and love for teaching. But I remember in my first 2-3 years of teaching, I would coach from 1:30 in the afternoon to about 2:15, 2:45 to about 4:15, and then about 4:30 to 6 o'clock. Of 5:30, or just before 6, I would coach 3 teams a day, and then after that, I would rush to go and practice my own rugby, because I played some club rugby, and at night I would come just to mark that extra books at night, and the next day I would just carry on because it wasn't a job for me, it was a passion that I followed and pursued, and the fact that it made me this happiest person on earth, it was so easy for me to wake up in the morning, because I knew that I would want to make an impact on someone's life today and a kid's life. So yeah, that was my life for about 3 years, and later on I could scale a bit down. I only coached about 2 teams in the afternoon, and then later on 1 team on 2-3 hours a week. Yeah, so that was my life as a teacher, and I really, really enjoy it. It's because it is, if it's not your passion, you should ask yourself, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it for the money, you're not doing it for the income, you're doing it for the outcome.
Absolutely.
To make that change in that kid's life, as a teacher made in my life as a young kid.
Yeah, please tell this story.
So,
typically in the show at the end, I ask the guests to tell us about that one teacher that really made a difference, like that super teacher in their life. But I heard this story. I want you to share it with the audience. We're going to make it part of the bigger show here. Tell us the story about that teacher that made a difference in your life.
I lost my mom at a very young age in a car accident, and my dad.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, just left us there. And basically,
so your dad abandoned
us. Yeah, he went back overseas after the funeral, and the only comfort I really found was at school, because teachers need to realize sometimes they have a Heinrich in their classroom as well. That all the love that he really has in this world is at school, and if he doesn't get it there, where else does he get it? And of course, there was a lot of teachers, because they all have an impact on your life. But of course, there's always that 1 or 2 special guys in your life or teachers. And I had a Mr. Dubell, Sean Dubell, without him even knowing it, the impact he had in my life, walking in the passage, bit heartbroken, but I'll get a high five from him, and that would make my day. Like, wow, my superhero, because he was my superhero. It's like, how can one guy be so amazing and loves me unconditionally and sees the potential I have in me and praises me for what I'm doing right, and he's just this mentor in my life. But without him even knowing it, he just thought he was just a simple young male teacher at school. But he was my hero. Yeah. And sometimes I realized that sometimes kids maybe should tell their teachers how much they mean to them. But I could never tell him this, because he was his idol for me. I don't know if I could speak to him, And he really made a massive, massive impact in my life. And only after about 15 years, after being crowned as Mr. South Africa, I really spoke about in the media how much he really impacted me as a young kid. And then he gave me a call and he said, Heinrich, I really never knew I had this impact on your life. I said, sir, but you did, and you really made me believe in myself a little more. And I really just wanted to become like you in life. And because he was always this vibrant young teacher, and really made not just me, I know there's a lot of kids that he made a difference in. And I just realized, wow, I always wanted to give back to society, because I received so much, and the best way for me was to become a teacher.
Yeah, wow.
It was because basically being a teacher, I could change the world one child at a time, as someone changed my life. Yeah. And it was a dream that I also held on for 11 years, to become Mr. South Africa, after former Mr. South Africa, Dieter Voigt, who was also a teacher.
And he was Mr. South Africa in 2007, correct? Yes. And also a teacher.
A teacher, and then he went on to become Pasala. He was
one of the anchors, the presenters, yeah.
Presenters on the TV show after being a teacher, and that time he was like, wow, this is from teacher to this celebrity, but he could ace it because he was a teacher.
He was a teacher.
And he saw me something that no one else had seen in me in that time, if I can say that. And she says, hey, there's something special about you. And I'm like, wow, you're Mrs. South Africa. And yeah, and then I held on to that dream because I believe maybe I would want to become Mrs. South Africa one day, because the impact he had on me by being Mrs. South Africa, it just had so much more oomph, you understand?
Yes.
I said, well, I would want to have that platform one day. And I pursued the career I chased for the dream, and thankful for everything that I was taught, being a teacher and in the environments of working with kids and being positive. You know, I was fortunate enough to be crowned, and I unfortunately had to leave teaching because I wouldn't be able to do Mrs. South Africa full time.
Yeah, all your responsibilities that you have.
24/7, 365.
There's no way you can do both.
You know, they say teachers leave at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's just a half day job, man.
2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so I went into the corporate world, and right there, to be honest with you, without boasting about myself, I could ace it. I'm acing it at the moment because I was a teacher. I can handle everything that needs to be done in the corporate world because of everything that I was taught being a teacher and the experience I built up. I could really go out there in this corporate world and I can really produce utmost results.
Because when you were a teacher, you were almost forced to survive and do these time management things, like do 5 things at the same time and manage events here and then deal with parents over there. All of these are transferable skills into the corporate sector.
Yes.
I love this thing that you said about answering at the same time.
Yeah, because in the corporate world, sometimes I have to answer about 7, 8 important emails, and the guys in the company are like, wow, thank you for doing this. I'm like, guys, that comes like I was busy teaching on the board, replying to a parent, sending an email there, and still helping a kid here that forgot his lunch at home. And so you were juggling all these balls, and then all of a sudden in the corporate world I feel so guilty because, hey, it feels like you're not working. Because teaching is such a hard, passionate job, because there's so many things you must do in a single day. And when you're out in the corporate world, it's like, wow, it's actually quite simple. But I wouldn't want every teacher to leave teaching because we need
because it's easy in the corporate world, because we'll saturate the market and we'll just be absolutely amazing at it.
But we need teachers to educate the next generation with the doctors and the pilots. And
there's that old adage of teaching is the mother of all other professions. We need super teachers in every classroom, because that's going to make an impact. And you said this, we don't understand the influence that teachers actually really have.
And that's my biggest thing, Franjo. I wish every single teacher can realize the impact they have and the amazing platform they have to bring change to this world. Even the great Nelson Mandela, it's not by chance that he said that education, is the key to changing and to bettering the world that we live in, and that is so important. And who's doing it? The teachers, I wish that we could give them more recognition, and the government could give them more recognition. But that's what I promised myself, is to use my platform and to give recognition to these amazing teachers that bring so much positivity and change to this world that we're living in.
I agree with you, and recognition doesn't necessarily need to be monetary. It doesn't have to be on a salary. It would be great. It's great to earn money, but the recognition, just in knowing, like, your job is important.
And the biggest reward I received as a teacher is seeing that kid that believes in himself. I can write a book, and one day my dream is to write a book, and in my book I'll write about all those simple stories, taking an athlete where he was close to being expelled. I said, hey, you're going to become an athlete with me. And because I wanted him to break away from all the wrong crowd that he was involved in. And all of a sudden this boy became a provincial athlete, and he became a South African athlete, and he got a bursary to go and play at a professional school that takes rugby serious, and now he's playing professional rugby. It's quite amazing. Just a simple story by me seeing potential in this kid and just involving him and giving him a bit more attention and a bit more love, and he is set for higher heights today. And I wish that, in my book I'll elaborate more of what it really entitled me. I can't wait for
that book to come out.
Where he was on the road to being expelled because what he did was so wrong. But I said, hey guys, there's something more to this. He's coming from a disregarded background. Let's try and just give him the platform and help him again. And I'm willing to lift up my hand and walk that extra mile for him. And that kid will never forget the impact I had in his life.
Definitely.
I don't need recognition for that, but I know what that kid, where he is today, and he knows the relationship that we had. And how successful he is today, and that just makes you proud.
And basically, when it comes to this influence, teachers let me give you an example. I taught at a school where Elton Jantjies was, like at the same time, I didn't teach him personally, but he was at the school when I was there. Every single time that man is on the field in his Springbok rugby jersey, I didn't even teach him. And I feel proud that I was in the same like ecosystem that he was. But then I would also tell people, you know what, I was at the school where you taught.
Of course,
all teachers do that. I promise you, the schools that you went to, all of the teachers, when they see you on a platform, they'll go, I know Heinrich, I taught Heinrich. That happens, and we do that. And we say this thing almost, we almost throw it away when we say it's like teachers make an impact. The next president can be in your classroom. The next like important person, whatever. These people are in my classroom, but we forget that also the next serial killer can be in my classroom. The next rapist can be in my classroom.
I'm getting goosebumps now because, you know, sometimes we say, yeah, the government is failing us, and I just realize, imagine that person that's doing the corruption was in a good teacher's class.
Exactly.
South Africa would be different now.
Just that little bit more positive inspiration in their life, just that little bit more teacher with values and ethos, modeling what a good citizen is. How could that maybe have changed that individual's life and led to him not being a corrupt government official or not killing someone? I'm taking it to the extreme.
Yes, that's so true, and a teacher could have changed that person's life, you know.
Exactly. Yes, Heinrich, this is a lot of value already. I mean, I feel privileged in having a teacher like you, another super teacher on this platform. Tell us a bit more about this project that you run, Upcycle SA.
Upcycle SA, it's something that I had on my heart for a very long time, and I always wanted to give back because I was always a recipient of people providing for me when I was in the children's home, because I never had any equipment to play sports or had funding to do certain things, and people were always there and opened their hearts towards me, and somehow I knew that I would one day want to be in a privileged position to be able to give back. So I have a quite simple concept, but it changes the world, you know, one child at a time. Basically, I take disregarded sports equipment. So I go to a fortunate school, I do my motivational talks, and then I would ask them to donate all the equipment they don't use anymore. Some of them use it one season with a cricket bat or a hockey stick or rugby ball or soccer, netball, you name it, any type of form of equipment. And I take that to a less fortunate school or community. And I wish you could see the smile on those kids' faces, and I can use that to uplift them a bit, you know, so that they can rise above their circumstances. So
because maybe that child just needed a rugby ball, or they needed a cricket bat, or they just needed some resource that unlocks that for them.
Exactly. And also now I have the privilege of going around to much more schools where I was just forced to be at one school and make a difference there. I can make a difference at a lot of other schools. So I'm very fortunate, and I believe that my organization will grow from strength to strength, because it's something that I really live for, and something that God gave me the vision for it, because I really want to go out there and change the world one child at a time. And so far it's really doing so well. A lot of people are opening their hearts towards donating equipment. Of course, there's so much more schools that need that they're not giving at the moment, but that's okay. You know,
we can't change the world all at once.
One step at a time. We'll do.
Tell me if one of the teachers or principals watching this, they've got equipment lying around. How do they reach out to you? How do they donate?
If they type in my name in Google, Heinrich Gabler, you know, my website will pop up, and I'm sure Upcycle SA, our website for that will also pop up. But if it's more simple on Facebook, Heinrich Gabler and Mr. South Africa 2019, I have a page there, and then Upcycle SA is one word,
so what I'll do is I'll include all of these links in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put it on Facebook, so that teachers who want to access that can go there and donate the equipment they're not using.
On that, and then I'll be in contact with them, and then I would collect, or they will get a drop-off point. And then, I would distribute them.
Isn't this just an amazing example of a personal story where somebody assisted you and you're paying it forward, but how it's grown into such a big initiative that's really making an impact?
That's so true, and that's where Upcycle SA comes from, is that taking someone from a less fortunate position, putting them in just a better step in life, and then one day they would then return the favor by completing the cycle and helping someone else, and then they can help the next person. So it will be a complete cycle, but upliftment. You know, we will take you to higher heights, and that's what we want. So I was joined by Dieter Voigt, my mentor in life. He's joined with the organization, and then my adoptive mom, because later on I went into adoptive family. It was quite special, but only at a later stage in my life.
How old was you? Were you?
So I had a special family in Wellington, Dawn Jorgensen, that fetched me on weekends and holidays, but I never wanted to be adopted because I knew I had an impact I could make on the kids' lives in the children's home. I wanted to be
you don't want to go out of that,
a role model for them, and I wanted to be just a strength pillar for them, if I can say that.
Isn't that just like forward thinking for somebody at that? Because how old were you when that
10,
was?
11 years old.
And you already had the foresight of saying, you know what, I can make an impact where I am.
And despite my circumstances, and being happy is really a choice. You know, I could wake up in the morning and I could say, you know, I want to be positive today. And I was excited to go to school because I had awesome teachers that really went the extra mile for me. And then at a later stage after university, I really longed for that father figure in my life. And I was coaching this kid, and I grew attached to him because he was a type 1 diabetic. And he rised above his circumstances, and I just loved his story because at halftime he would inject himself with his needles and insulin, and I was like, wow, this kid, you know, he doesn't let anything hold him back. And then I learned his family and relationship built well, and his father became like a father for me as well. And then Liesel Visser, Peter Visser's wife, she's also part of the organization. So there's 3 of us really running full out with this, and I'm blessed to have them, you know, because sometimes I won't be able to get there always, and they would arrange the meetings or the drop-off points and or pick up.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool, having people with the same vision as you.
But it's important to have these people because you can't run around and do the operational the whole time. I mean, you're the face of all of this. You've got Mr. South Africa that you're also running. But like utilizing your platforms for betterment.
My reign as Mr. South Africa September 2020, it will be done. But Upcycle SA will be lifelong, you know.
Exactly.
I used the platform that I had as Mr. South Africa to create something that will be sustainable and bring change to this world. And once again, it's a passion working with kids. I'm so thankful, really. And being a teacher for 7 years taught me so much skills, and really just put me a notch above in life, if I can say that.
Yeah.
So Dieter, myself, and Habib Nurbai is 3 former Mr. South Africas. And we always wanted to somehow give back to youth development because we believe once we can develop the youth, you know, we can create a better future for South Africa. And we started our own coffee brand.
Okay, so you started your own coffee brand as well?
Presidential coffees, because that's just our way that we'll generate some income to be able to help with education, and so they can further their studies. Or
so what we need to do, we need to get this coffee brand of yours, Presidential Coffee.
Coffees,
Get it in every single staff room, because you know now there are teachers involved here.
Of course, and you want that presidential taste, you want that leadership, you know.
And teachers love coffee.
Exactly.
Almost as much as we love wine.
That's true.
but we won't drink the wine at school. So let's get that coffee into
thousands of stories of the wine. I always say teachers find a reason to drink. Oh, it's your birthday next month. Okay, we'll drink tonight.
Vanmiddag drink ons. No, thank you so much for this. Let's jump into the quick fire round of questions. So you couldn't prepare for this whatsoever. It doesn't have to be quick fire. We can elaborate on that as well. But I always start off by asking you, what is your superpower?
My superpower is the fact that I was a teacher, to be honest. I'm a teacher, and that makes me a superhero. So I can motivate people. I have a gift, and they always say, hey, you don't follow your passion, follow your gift, because a passion is sport, you know, it takes a lot of effort, but a gift, it comes simple, you know. I love motivating people, so I believe that's a superpower I have. Is to
so that's a self-awareness that you had, knowing that this is my strength. And I think we focus so much on our weaknesses, and we want to improve our weaknesses. Don't focus on your strengths.
With the kids in your class as well, leave that, it's okay. Focus on their positives, on their strength. The whole thing will turn, and the kid will become your A student, your A plus, not academically, but just a superhero in your class.
Tell me, I know you're extremely busy, but all of us can find time for a little bit of Netflix or Showmax. Tell me, what's the series you're currently binging?
To be honest, not exactly serious, but I love sports, as I said.
okay.
So I would go and catch up and watch rugby. If I can watch rugby all day, I'll be the happiest person. But of course, the girlfriend also wants a lot of time. She's a teacher as well, so when she has time.
So you fell for the trap.
I always say real men marry teachers.
There you have it. My biggest problem with that is you definitely need to get a sidekick. If you're a super teacher, every superhero has a sidekick. Okay, marrying a teacher or dating a teacher is a problem for one reason only. When is the partner going to help you mark? Because they've got their own marking to do. Like short questions. If you're married to a teacher, you know how to mark short questions.
I'm still doing that.
So you'll never escape that.
That's so true.
That's amazing. You've got the opportunity to build a school from the ground up.
Okay.
You've got no restrictions on resources, money, whatsoever. You get to design and build a school. Tell us about the school.
Basically, that's a very fiery question. It's amazing, puts me on the spot, but that's great because, of course, the classrooms, I want it to be interactive by saying, the kids somehow, I believe that sitting on a gym ball in the classroom, because some kids at that age, you want to bounce around, they will still pay attention, interactive, visualize. I want interactive boards where they can watch and do more things and be active in the classroom, because you can't just sit still, and because we weren't made for that, the way you greet. And I always had this amazing greeting ways in the classroom, which was not to stand there, do the koi sound and go, hey, good morning, and then we would dance a bit because they love that. And all of a sudden they could concentrate for about 20 minutes because that's still a lot for them. So the classroom is very interactive, and an activity centrum where kids can do the PT, because that's a very important subject. Kids should be active, and I want them to live an active lifestyle, because being healthy body, healthy mind, healthy lifestyle, it just boosts your morale in life. And then I would want a computer centrum, because that's the way forward. Technology, even if you want to turn a blind eye on it,
you can't escape it.
They can't escape it. One of the days, they'll be delivering pictures with a drone. That's the way forward, because I'd love to have an interactive with computers, and kids that they excel there again, where they become the next IT. Because when you ask a kid now, what's your dream? Because I ask every kid, what's your dream? Now I want to become a YouTuber. And it's not funny anymore, because the next YouTuber that's quite big will be the next billionaire of this country. So that's the way forward with technology. So a very good interactive classroom, activity centrum, and computer centrum, and I'll surely be a very successful school, if I can say that.
That's amazing. Tell me, if there's a teacher listening to the show currently, and they feel that they've got something in them, like they want to start a project like your upcycle essay, or they just want to start making a difference, where do they start? What do you do?
Basically, I always believe that, to be honest, Francois, there is a lot of teachers out there already making that difference, that extra mile, and a lot of them also promise themselves, it doesn't matter, my left hand doesn't necessarily need to see what my right hand does. So to those teachers, keep on keeping on, keep on doing that. That kid appreciates that extra mile that you go for him. So I also want them to believe in themselves, dream big. If it's something, take it on. Even if you start small, if you're starting with 1 or 2 kids that you're making a difference, and later on it will grow. But just start doing. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. Just say, I'm diving in head first, because that's what teachers do. We're brave, to create that environment where kids will feel safe and they trust you enough to participate in whatever you'd want them, to do, extramural or whatever. So just start. And those that are already doing that, thank you so much to
and continue.
Please continue.
And continue. It's like, and this thing about just starting, that'll show you where to go next.
Yes.
Because the things that are successful, you'll see the signs, and you'll be able to move in that direction.
Even myself with Upcycle Essay, I just started. I said, hey, I'm starting, and I thought of a name and a logo, and there I went, and I told schools, and now I'm so blessed. It's too much things coming in. It's like, Lord, stop all the blessings, But that's just because I started small, 1 or 2 rugby balls, and I could give that to that kid and that kid. But you have talks here, and all of a sudden you have 10 pairs of dogs coming in and 10 soccer balls.
Before you know it, you don't know what to do with everything.
Exactly, and now I can start
opportunities
planning.
will show themselves.
I already started, so now I just have to keep continuing what I'm doing.
So it's like having a ready, fire, aim approach.
Yes,
So they don't have to aim. It's like just
So
start.
now I'm starting to think where next with a container to store it until the next school needs it. So that's the process, and it's amazing how the ball just keeps on rolling. You understand? But I needed to start somewhere. I had this vision and believed I can do it, and I just went for it.
But there you have it. You're not just a teacher. You are more than just a teacher. You are amazing. Go out and just start this project. If you've got it inside of you, if you've got this idea that you want to, just go for it, man. Heinrich, thank you so much for spending time with us on the show. I know you're a very busy man, so taking time out to speak to your colleagues, there's a lot of value in this episode. I really thank you for taking this time.
And thank you to you, Francois, from the bottom of my heart, to be honest, and for you starting something as a stupid teacher. It's really amazing. Please continue what you're doing. You're a very positive person. The world needs more people like you and your team. And I would love to use my platform to share Super Teacher and somehow become an ambassador for you as well, then the way forward. And I would always want you to involve me whenever you are at events or anything, because teaching is the most important now. We need people to realize that. I want teachers to feel like a super teacher, like a superhero, because they are changing the world. Thank you.
No, thank you for that. There's a lot of synergy in the work that we do, and I'm sure this will be the start of a very beautiful friendship.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There you have it, colleagues. I'm nearly emotional as I sit here, but thank you for watching all the way to the end. I know you've got a lot of things to do, but you take time out of your precious schedule to listen or watch the show. So if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, make sure that you like our pages, you subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on podcast, please make sure that you send us a review, because that just helps us expand and reach more and more and more teachers, so that we can make a positive difference in each and every classroom. Until next time, my name is Francois Nordier. This is Heinrich Gabler, and we are Super Teachers.
Cheers, guys.
With me today, I've got Piet van Zyl from Senior Chef, a very interesting company that I'm very excited for my entire audience to get to know. It's all about school fundraising, but I'm here with the owner of the company, and I'd really like Piet to just share with us what the company is about and what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks, Francois. Maybe a bit of history. Started the company 19 years ago in 2002. I was a teacher, and at that stage, there was, fundraisers are always schools needing some funds to fill onto their budgets. And came up with a concept of trying to find products that are used every day in each home. And so the whole concept came then, and we decided on using spices and other house products, kitchen products, as products in this school fundraiser. The basic concept of the fundraiser is that each kit gets an order form and a brochure, takes it home, and then the parents, he actually gets 5 order forms and 1 brochure, and then the parents order what they want on the list. Grandmother, grandfather would order something, maybe the next door neighbor, basically ordering, and then the school gets a certain percentage, which is 25% of the turnover, as funds for them to use whatever they had set as a target, maybe for a school bus, for new computers in the computer room. So that is the basic concept.
Piet, tell me a bit more about the products that's on offer.
Okay, so obviously the initial concept was that we wanted products that are used every day in each home, so that this is a transaction where you buy a product that you in any case would have bought, and you would have bought it at your local store. So currently the empowerment involvement with this is fantastic for us to say. In the 19 years, they've been on our list for 18 years, and with a wide variety of products, well-known, quality well-known to everybody, and obviously new products, launching new products from our supplier side, also obviously comes onto the list first most of the time.
Yeah.
Then we've got, a lot of the demographics these days of schools means that you can't have only products for higher income market.
Yeah.
You have a wide variety of kids in each class. So we literally have ranges of products like the Senior Chef Spice range, where if you want to buy just the curry or steak and chops seasoning, that obviously is on there. So there's quite a big range of spices on there in the Senior Chef range, which is at this stage exclusive to schools, without all the nonsense like MSG and preservatives that is in there. Then we've got some fantastic suppliers, like Montague dried fruits that supplies healthy, snacks. Same with Safari. That have also got quite a wide range of products you can actually put into lunch boxes.
Yeah.
Lunchbox products like biltong, in 25 gram sachets from Cape Deli has been on there for many years. Droewors, anything that can go into a lunchbox. But I mean, the project itself is not about filling up lunch boxes.
No, my lunchbox would have been filled with biltong and droewors. You had me there. You had me at droewors.
Yeah. So even from Willow Creek's olive oil, and I'm leaving out Carb Smart. Is a new range that's out there for the people that's into banting. So I mean, I'm trying to think. There's so many products, and they differ each year. We add on some suppliers. We try and freshen it up each year. But those are more or less the products. We've got a nice range of Walker Bay spices, where that is well known for their braai salts, and other products as well. That would be on the list. And as I said, every year we've even got plastic bags, black bags, Ziploc bags, products like that. So it is really products used every day.
And it's a diverse range of products. So it's not only like spices. It's like literally, and as it sounds to me, it's like kitchen supplies, stuff that you typically want to use in and around the kitchen.
Yeah, even stuff like microwave popcorn. So there's really something for everybody. Somebody wants to buy for the house. That is an essential, it's on there. If there's something that is a luxury, like biltong or something like that, it's on there.
The point being, it's easier for the child to market that, because you have this, and you know what, you're anyway going to buy these products. Don't go to your large supply store or the grocery store. If you're going to buy it anyway, come buy it through us, benefit your child and benefit the school and benefit the community.
Yes.
What I wanted to ask you, that 25% that the school get, what generally happens to that 25%? You've now been working with so many schools.
Yeah.
What do they do with the 25% that they get?
Yeah, well, I think the need is so diverse on what schools use it for. I mean, we've had schools that specifically say they want to build a swimming pool, or they want to get more teachers and be able to pay more teachers. It actually goes that far to pay salaries, so to have better education, less children in classes, add on to that, so for the appointment of extra teachers.
So it's like SGB appointments of teachers, filling up that budget.
Yeah, so that, I mean, anything that from equipment needed in your computer rooms to school buses, it's all part of the budget of a school, whatever they want to use it for.
So they determine when we need X amount of money, we're going to use that. And
I always suggest to schools, putting a goal out there for a child to say, we all want a new swimming pool at the school, or AstroTurf or something like that. Then we're all working in the same direction, and at the end of the day, when you go back maybe many years back from it, you can say, with that year's fundraiser of Senior Chef, we have built this AstroTurf, for instance, or the swimming pool.
And it's to benefit of everyone. It's not just necessarily a monetary benefit. It's actually increasing the school facilities or having the school run. So it's up to the school to decide what they use the money for. But in essence, if you have the whole school participating in the fundraising, you want to do something with the money that benefits everybody in the school.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, we even break it down then when, like rugby touring groups or netball or hockey, going overseas, and there are only 30 pupils, we would allow them to do this fundraiser just with the 30 people to raise money. So it's not only for the whole school, it sometimes happens just with a class group, but we prefer if our school does the project. It just makes a bit more sense.
Now, the two of us have had many conversations about your specific product and services, but what I'm interested in is the stories of the schools that really are go-getters with this project. Can you mention an example that comes to mind of a school that really benefited from this, or that stood out from the rest of the schools that you typically work with?
Well, unfortunately, it would be the school where my little daughter's going to. Which
No
is,
nepotism here. No.
which is Laerskool Stellenbosch.
Okay.
They've managed to do over 600,000 Rand with this project. And the nice thing about this, so obviously they get 25% of them, and they got a prize for being the top school in that section. So just achieving over 600,000 Rand in a 2-week campaign is amazing. But I think what people don't know is what is the stories behind this, how was this done, and obviously there's involvement from parents. There are quite equipped organizers that run this project, that would either be part of the school's team or the parents. But stories behind that would be that there were 2 brothers in the school that actually decided that they want to sell a whole lot of the healthy stuff, and one of them sold, I think, something like 160,000 Rand on his own.
One learner?
One learner sold 160,000 Rand on his own, and his brother more or less did the same the next year, I think. And what they did with that, and it's wonderful that the youth of today is actually thinking about people that are less fortunate than they are.
Yeah.
So what they did is they sold this to friends of their parents under the banner of they're going to give it away to charity. So they only sold the Montague dried fruit and Safari dried fruit products and the biltong and the droewors, which is healthy snacks. And then they sold this, and afterwards they went to all the disadvantaged schools and they handed out boxes of droewors and biltong and nuts.
So an example of giving back to the community and not just keeping it for yourself.
So adding up to the total of over 600,000, there's small inside stories of amazing stories of these kids that actually got involved in such.
And we need to hear all of these stories. I mean, I think that there's a lot of inspiration that comes from an initiative like this.
Most definitely, yeah.
No, wonderful.
Also from an entrepreneurial point of view, kids get involved, learn certain skills with this project. And we've been very privileged and lucky to have accumulated quite a few astute suppliers in the country, like in Palmen from Palmen Foods.
Yeah.
Mrs. Palmen herself is an ex-teacher, like myself, and she's very passionate about entrepreneurship. Many more, Montague Dried Fruit, Safari, Willow Creek, quite a few suppliers that are well known out there to South Africans.
Okay. So Pete, schools need to do fundraising, and it's almost sad that schools need to try and find funds from external sources. In your experience, what are the typical type of fundraising activities that schools typically do?
Well, obviously, as an ex-teacher, the raffle being sold by kids, was obviously the most popular ways of doing fundraising. Golf days, I think would be another one, wine auctions. So I think those are quite common out there. I think when it comes to raffles, you don't get something in your hand, it's odds.
Yeah, it's like
either for you or against you. So it's a gambling game. And with us, the nice thing is you're getting a product. You're paying a price for a product that you would have bought in store in any case, and you're getting a great product back from
and I love that about the products, the whole fact that it's a grocery product. It's something that you're going to use in your house anyway.
Yes.
So, and you've got a child in school, for instance, or of a child in a school, and you can assist your community, you can assist the school in raising funds, but then at the same time you're actually getting value because you're going to use the product.
Yes, no, most definitely. And I think what also is important, you're getting a product, but you're not limited to just the school's parents and the immediate families surrounding that, and this, or maybe in a small town that you're staying, where you've actually got limited budgets of each home. You can fax stuff through these days, you can email stuff through these days. So if my parents stay in Claremont, for instance, we're in Stellenbosch, we can do it over the phone or over the internet, and even get orders in, so that one town is not limited to the amount of money available in that specific town.
Because if you look back, traditionally a child will have their form and they walk door to door, which is not safe really anymore. Depends on the community, but they can't really do that. And then generally in that model, you like stuck with the geographical space that you're in, and you don't have exposure to other markets. But with social media, and I know from your website you also now have an online platform where you can order these products from.
Yeah, obviously you've got to move with time.
Yeah.
So a lot of schools have asked that for us, so we listen to what the schools have requested. So we spend quite a bit of money on having an online ordering system whereby you can pay by credit card. It's linked through Google Sheets, onto the school's computers.
Yeah.
Each school gets a specific code that the parent just fill in, and that goes to that school's accumulation of their funds. But there are some schools that still say, obviously internet is not freely available to everybody, and they don't want to do payments that, they don't want to do orders that way, and for that we've got the Excel sheet whereby they can still, count up all the orders.
So there's this nice mixed methodology of still sticking with the old traditional way in which we do the orders, but then also teaching children and the parents as times move on to move onto online retail.
Yes.
But tell me, what's the benefit to the school and to the child? Because now we are basically becoming salesmen for the products that you have,
Yeah.
but there of course needs to be a fundraising or some benefit to the school and the child.
Yeah. Look, so for me, there's clearly two parts to this. The first one is a school gets 25% of the turnover. So if a school sells in the 2-week period that this project runs, sells 200,000 Rand, they get 50,000 Rand out of this. So that is quite clear. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my heart is there for entrepreneurship, and I think when you give a child the opportunity to take these forms to his parents, you start learning skills and actually getting the guts to ask somebody else as well, even if it's just your grandmother or your granddad, asking them to buy something from you. And I think this all builds up to somebody becoming an entrepreneur. You certainly learn a lot of skills through this project, working with money, getting the confidence of doing a sales transaction, because that's in essence what this really is. It's not a raffle that you're selling, it's a transaction that's taking place, and the child is part of this transaction. So it might be this child's first transaction that actually ever happens.
And that could spark an interest with the child, which could lead to them actually becoming an entrepreneur.
Most definitely. Look, I mean, I've told the story many times about my little daughter, Carla, that when she did the project for the first time at her school, she obviously came back with that, and she didn't have the confidence even to ask, her grandmom and granddad. So I said, you love them, obviously, so there's nothing wrong with asking them. Asked them, obviously they supported her, and the one thing led to the other. A few weeks later, after the project, she was so fired up for entrepreneurship. She organized her own entrepreneur day in Welgevonden Estate, where we stay in Stellenbosch. She literally organized her friends to bake cakes, make some things, and there was 5 or 6 kids sitting in the park there. We advertised it on Facebook, and people were coming there to buy stuff. And she had organized that, obviously with the help of her mother as well. But
and children need that type of support. I mean, you're not going to expect a child just to run a day like that and on their own.
Yes.
But the initiative came from her. Yeah. That little spark was there, and she went like, let's do this in the estate.
Yeah.
But what I love about this is she incorporated and included her friends.
Yeah.
Because she can't just have a market day just with her own stall selling her own things, and that starts igniting a spark maybe in her friends. And currently the education system is not focused on entrepreneurship. Very few subjects really place a focus on that. We don't have a lot of focus on mathematical literacy, financial literacy itself, and these are nice, innovative ways and authentic ways that we can teach children the skills of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, most definitely. I think most probably my background as a teacher is obviously still where a lot of my heart lies.
Yeah.
And I think the opportunity with spending time even with your kid, a lot of schools tell us they'd rather ask the parents to pay another 100 Rand to their school fees. And that's missing the point, because through this project you actually get the chance to, if there's success, you can explain, and be happy with your kid for that. If you get a negative answer, somebody doesn't want to buy from you, or you have a bad experience, to also handle that. So it actually gives you the opportunity as well. And parents have to take that decision as well, to say, in the days that we live in with social media and everything that really can become such a big part of a kid's life, this is opportunity where you can actually start a process where entrepreneurship can be done, and where you can spend time with your child learning them lessons through this project even.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're missing the point by saying that, if we want more funds, we can just increase the school fees. I mean, that's not feasible for everybody in our country. We know the economic status of many of our parents can't even afford the general school fees. Now we want to add on levies and stuff like that. So that makes it difficult. But as you correctly said, the focus here shouldn't be on the money raised. That's the benefit to the school engaging in a project like this. The point being the skill of entrepreneurship. or even if it's just the skill of sales, like you mentioned. That's so important. Our kids don't get exposed to that.
Yes, no, definitely. And I mean, the project itself, it's not a lot of admin work to the school, and I think that's maybe something that I need to emphasize as well, is that we supply brochures, very good looking, good quality color brochures, order forms, the online ordering platform, the Excel platform, advice from our office side. There's this really personal relationship between our company and schools.
It's not like you just dump everything on the school and say, please school, now it's your baby from here on. We'll come in and collect our 75% and everything's happy.
Yeah, Devetu is our general manager. He handles all the schools on a day-to-day basis, and going the extra mile and making sure that everyone understands. If they haven't received the product, for instance, he makes sure that everybody receives what they have ordered. And it clearly works out good that way.
Wonderful. Pete, tell us, if a teacher wants to get involved, or a principal wants to start doing this project at their school, where do they get hold of you? How do they sign up?
Yeah, obviously these days people go to the website first, which is www.senorchef.co.za. It's spelled www.senor, Senor, and then chef, CHEF.
Or one word?
Yeah, .co.za, or they can contact us at the office in Stellenbosch, which is 021 8833 826.
Wonderful. What we'll do is we'll put all of that information in the description and in the links and the comments everywhere on social media, that whoever is seeing this or hearing this, they'll be able to get through and get
and obviously the email addresses of me and David will also be on the internet that they can contact.
So it's as simple as that. Just pop onto the website, they can make contact with you, and then David will take the process further.
Yes, most definitely.
I love the project that you guys are doing. I really buy into the entrepreneurial side of it. Our kids need a lot more exposure to that. But thank you for taking the time to chat to us about your product.
Thanks, Francois. Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks very much.